Welcome to Ev's Shed. Watch me transform the colour of this bedside table from this beige to a nice gloss white finish. Here's the equipment that I'll be using to transform this bedside table. Firstly, I need to sand down the surface, give it a nice key so that the paint will adhere to. I'm using 400 grit sandpaper. Once that's been done, then I'll need to clean the surface, get rid of any dust or any grease as well. I'm using some methylated spirits for that. And then I'm using a 2-in-1 spray paint. So this is a paint and prime and it's a gloss finish. So let's get started. Before we start sanding it down, we need to take all the handles off and also mask up the areas we don't want to paint. Taken all the internal runners off. I've taped up all the areas I don't want to paint over. I've done the same for the drawers. Now I'm ready to lightly scuff the area, give it a bit of a sand down so I can get a nice key and then the paint can adhere to it. Now this is a laminated surface, so we need to rough it down so the paint will attach to the surface. I'm using 400 grit sandpaper. It's a wet and dry sandpaper, but I'll use it dry. And I'm put on my sand block, so let's get started. Give it a very light scuff. And as always, make sure you use your respiratory protection. We don't want any dust going into our lungs. And we also need to do the inside because I need to paint the inside. I've finished sanding down with 400 grit. I'm going to lightly go over it with 800 grit, a finer sandpaper, just to get rid of any marks I've left behind from the 400 grit paper. Now I'm ready to wipe all the dust down and get rid of any grime and any grease. I'm using methylated spirits for that. Now we're ready to paint the surface. Initially we'll give it a very light coat and then let it dry and give it a couple more coats after that.
Shake the can well. Test the can by spraying your paint on a piece of cardboard. This will give you an idea of how the paint will look when you spray paint your item. It will also give you a chance to test which distance gives you the desired effect, but also identify any faulty can nozzles which may splatter paint on your surface. It's always best to test before you start spraying. Apply the paint at the recommended distance. In this case, you could see I'm 20 centimeters away from the surface. Make sure to slowly sweep the paint across the surface of your project to get an even coat. Be sure to slightly overlap each stroke to prevent striping. Apply several thin coats. Pause to shake the can at regular intervals during painting. On the first coat, you'll see that I'm spraying left to right, and this leaves some gaps in the paint. To overcome this, on the subsequent coats, I'll be changing the spray pattern. So I'll be going up and down, and then on the third coat, I'll be going diagonally, and this will cover any of those gaps. When it comes to spray painting, always take your time, never rush. If you do this, you'll get a nice, smooth, even coat.
finished all the coats. You can see it's come out really nice. Nice and smooth. Beautiful finish. Right around. Now we're ready to assemble. It's a beautiful high gloss finish. It took a few white coats, but I finally got to the end result that I wanted. And it's nice and glossy that you can see my reflection.
I gave this old bedside table a new lease of life with a simple coat of paint. And what a great transformation it's made to this room.
As you can see, it's come out fantastic. A beautiful finish. I'm very happy with the result. If you like what you've seen today, as always, click the like button down below and please subscribe to Ev's Shed. Thanks for watching Ev's Shed. Catch you later.